podcast you've been looking for all along. Step into the life of urban exploration with guests from around the world. Welcome to No Tracers.
Welcome back to No Tracers. My name is Kay and I am your host here. I am also known as no.tracers on Instagram, no tracers on TikTok, and on YouTube, I am just the letter K. If you guys want to see a video version of this podcast with my guests' photos, you can go to the Just the Letter K YouTube channel and listen and watch there. This week on the podcast, I'm speaking with CrayzyPhotography. His name is Chris Ray. His username is CrayzyPhotography. If you guys want to check out his stuff, I've put his links down in the description. But before we get into this episode, there's a few things I need to let you know about. The first of which being, I have a book out called No Tracers, an Urban Explorer's Diary. It's a photography book full of my stories and my photos. If you guys want to get a copy of that, if you want to see my blog and hear more of my stories, or if you want to see my videos or photography, head over to notracers.com. Everything is there for you guys with ease of access. Thank you guys for checking out this podcast. If you're new, please hit the subscribe button. And if you've been listening for a little while, please do me a favor and leave a rating and feedback on the podcast. It helps us grow, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts. There's a way to leave a rating and feedback. All you got to do is type in No Tracers, click on the icon, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see other people's ratings and feedback. If you guys do leave a rating and feedback, take a screenshot of it and DM it to me at no.tracers on Instagram, and I will actually send you a signed photo print from an abandoned place I've explored as a way of saying thank you for supporting the podcast. I appreciate that a ton, guys. It means a lot to me. And for those of you that have left ratings and feedback, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed those signed photo prints. All right, and the last thing I need to let you know about is that we have a partner here on this podcast, and that is Liquid Death Water. If you've never heard of Liquid Death Water, well, get ready to murder your thirst in 3, 2, 1.
From the streams of the Austrian Alps comes a new kind of water. A water that is sure to raise you from your grave. If you're tired of buying cases of plastic water bottles that contain carcinogens and God knows what else, or if you're trying to lower your waste footprint, Liquid Death comes in beautifully rugged aluminum cans. Murder your thirst with a can of Liquid Death. Check the link in the description and use code JustTheLetterK at checkout for 10% off your order. Liquid Death. Murder your thirst.
So if you would like to get 1 case or 30 cases of Liquid Death Water, you can use code JustTheLetterK at checkout for 10% off your order, or you can click the link in the description and it will automatically apply that coupon code for you. Thank you guys for listening to another week of No Tracers. Without further ado, CrayzyPhotography, please introduce yourself and how long you've been exploring to the No Tracers audience. That's my cat in the background, by the way.
All right. Hey, so my name is Chris Ray, or CrayzyPhotography on Instagram. I've been exploring for about 3 to 4 years, and I'm based in the Chicago area.
Awesome. So what got you into exploring in the first place? What made you catch this crazy bug?
At first, I didn't really like it. My friend, who I'm no longer friends with, but he was like, hey, let's go to this abandoned place. I was like, all right, sure, let's go. And then I was kind of creeped out. I was like, it's dark in here. That's like the first thing I said. And then we went, had fun, got caught by security. I was like, okay, I'm not doing this again. And then next weekend, like the weekend after, he was like, hey, let's go to this abandoned factory. I was like, all right, fine. And then I just fell in love with it. Like there was just so much history in that factory. It was just so fun. Like I felt like we had like full control of the building. It was just
wow.
It was amazing.
So that first exploration you went on when you got caught by security, even after that incident, you were like, yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah, I'm always open to like try new things. And even if it goes poorly one time, I'm like, let's
That's
do it
awesome.
again.
I love that attitude, man, especially with urban exploring. You know, we do get caught sometimes. And I think that some people get thrown off by it and they're like, yeah, I'm done. But I think it's cool that you like kind of pushed through that and you were like, yeah, let's keep going and see what else is out there. So When did photography come into play for you? When did you pick up a camera and start documenting your explores?
Okay, so I started photography way before I did urban exploring. So I want to say like 5 years ago, I started photography. Um, I started when my dad was like, "Hey, go take pictures of the kids doing an Easter egg hunt." I was like, "All right, cool, sure, I'll do that." And I just love taking photos. I was like, "Oh, I can capture moments in time. It's so cool." So then I started to do street photography. I'd go downtown every weekend. I'd get into parking garages and do photos there. And then when I started doing urban exploring, I was like, "This is really cool. I can capture history of these buildings. I can capture, like, this hallway that used to be full of like hundreds of kids, and now it's just
Mm,
decaying."
absolutely. And for you, since we do talk about history and you just kind of brought it up, do you have a favorite history of a place you've explored?
Not that I can think of at the top of my mind. Um, we just did a documentary on the City Methodist Church in Gary, Indiana. We did a lot of research on it to like inform people about the church, and I feel like the history behind that is very interesting.
Yeah, can you dive a little bit more into it?
Yeah. So basically, this church that's been open, I forgot the years, but it's been open for a long time. It was one of like the biggest churches at the time, and it just explained how like the church went through like Gary's prime and like how it was just there. It was the big church of like Gary. Everyone went, and then now just to see it's just like a crumbling mess and like forgotten to the world. Where at one time it was like huge and everyone knew about it.
Yeah, Gary's a very interesting and well known place for explorers. I feel like I hear a lot of
It is.
stories from that area, you know?
Yeah, I go there about like like as much as I can. I try to get there every weekend.
Wow. And do you have some gear recommendations for like newer explorers, things that you bring with you? This can be a pair of shoes, a backpack, a light, a respirator, things like that.
Yeah. I'll first start off with some things that I messed up when I first started exploring. I use my iPhone flashlight. Don't do that. Especially in the winter, it's cold, your phone will
Mm.
die if you rely on that. Um, I would recommend a good flashlight, like something that's like 1,000 looms or more that like lasts long. Um, and if you know what like a loom cube is, that's a really good thing if you want to like light up a big auditorium for like light painting. That's really good. For shoes, I'd wear boots. That's something I just learned recently because I've destroyed a lot of nice Adidas shoes while exploring. Um, yeah, and I'd also recommend carrying like a first aid kit because I've been in like abandoned buildings, and my one friend, we're just walking through this abandoned school, and this light bulb falls from the ceiling and cuts her leg open, and we have to take her to the ER.
Damn. Wow.
So yeah.
Dang. My next question was about urban exploring injury stories. So, do you have any personal ones, or is it mostly just your friend's story that you just told?
I do.
Okay.
I have one. It's pretty
All right,
funny.
let's go.
So yeah, so we've been into this abandoned factory once, like a couple years back, and like you just pull the door and it opens, right? It's like you put like a little shoelace in and you pull it because the door handle's
Mm.
gone. But we didn't really have, well, we weren't really thinking about shoelaces at the time. So I was like, okay, that light up there, there's a little wire. Let me pull it, right? So I climbed up this little railing, grabbed the light, and it fell out. And I fell and I sprained my foot pretty bad. I was unable to walk for like a good week or two.
Damn. Just because you were like, that'll work in this decaying building.
Yeah, yeah. And then my friend went like the next week, and she was like, the door was wide open when we got here.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
I was like, that's great. I'm not going there
Yeah,
again.
you're like, fuck that place, it screwed me up.
Yeah, it really did.
Can you talk to me about the mentality of urban explorers? Like, what makes us do this? What makes you do this over and over again? I mean, like, urban explorers, we're not necessarily normal people, you know? Like, it's a very interesting hobby.
Yeah.
So, can you talk more about the mentality of why you do this?
The reason why I do it is one, the history. It's very interesting, and two, I love like apocalypse kind of
Mm.
things. Um, like I've always wanted to do like apocalypse, like movies, not like actual like movies, but like short films and stuff. And I just feel like that's the kind of environment that I like. I like things that are like decayed, like for example, like a normal school. You go to a school, you're only like allowed access to the classrooms when you're supposed to be there and stuff, and then but in abandoned school, you can go in the attic, you can go in the boiler room, you can do whatever you want. You can hang out the window if you wanted to. I just feel like we have like a sense of freedom in these places that we don't normally get in other places.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Greg Abandon last night a little bit about, his explorations and things like that. And he was saying that when he went to Chernobyl, that was his first exploration. And he said it felt like he was like home, like he was welcomed home for the first time. And I think I feel that same way when I go into an abandoned place, and I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like a sense of freedom. Like I feel like I belong here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And can you tell me about your scariest exploration?
Oh God, I gotta think about that. There's a couple. um, well, there's this one school in Gary we call the Death School. It's like the chain of three schools. I think it's Edison or Emerson. I think it's one of the. I don't remember. They're so close to the name, but so all right. So I'll tell you the first story with dogs. So I was stupid at the time. This is like when I first started exploring. I was like, I'm gonna go to Gary by myself and walk around, and I put headphones on and just walk around the school.
Oh my God.
Not my brightest moment, but so I was walking around, and then in between songs, I heard movement. I was like, "Uh oh, there's someone here." So I take out my headphones. I'm like, "Hey, who's here?" And I just hear these like voices yell, "Watch out for a dog!" And I was like, "A dog? Oh, that's cool." I thought like someone brought their dog here. So I was like, "Okay." I was expecting like a little like Chihuahua or something. So about 10 minutes later, I go downstairs to like go find these people again, and I see this like really big pit bull just at the end of the hallway. I'm like,
Ooh.
oh God. So it starts to like come towards me. So I just like I run into a room and close the door, and the dog just like runs past me. I'm like, hey, I found your dog, and they're in the room over, and they're like, that's not my dog.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, that's great. So then so I'm like, all right, how long have you guys been in here? And they were like, well, we've been in here for like 2 hours trying to get out, but this dog's not letting us. I'm like, oh great, this is I have to be home for dinner pretty soon. So yeah, so I just like I just like I yell out to them. I'm like, all right, let's try to get out of here. And they're like, okay, so we're on the third floor. I want to say, yeah, we're on the third floor. So once we think it's clear, we walk down the stairs, and then we see another one. So there's two dogs there looking at us, and then this one girl just starts screaming, and then the dogs start running at us. So we were all just like running over each other, trying to get into a room while being chased by the dog. Well, both of them. And then we run into the room and we forget to close the door. So they're in the
Oh
room,
my
and we're all
God.
just like trying to like throw books at them so they get out. So they eventually got out. We closed the door, and we literally waited there for about 3 to 4 hours for them to leave.
Dang.
Yeah. And then another story from that place. So I was exploring with my friends, and we're on the third floor of this building again. And we see these two people walking towards us. This one guy has like a gas can, and this other person, they have their hands in their pocket for some reason. So, me being my friendly self, I'm like, hey, what's up? And this guy just like looks up and says, don't look at me. I'm like, okay, geez, all right.
Wow.
So then he pulls out a gun.
Whoa.
And then they just start running.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this guy's a gun. Let's get out of here. So we start filming on our cameras. So we have this entire thing on video.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're running through the building, and this one person has this gas can, which we think they're probably going to set the building on fire, right? Like why else would you have a gas can? And then so we run down to the first floor. We have to go through the basement to get out. So we're on the first floor, and we hear them be like, oh, they're up here. And we're like, oh God, so we need to run. So we're running through the building on the second floor, and then we get trapped in this gym, and my friend hurt her leg, but everyone else is like, okay, we're jumping out this window. Everyone jumps out the second story window, and this one guy, it's his first day exploring, he just starts puking everywhere. So my friend and I, since she can't get through that window because she's hurt, we're like, okay, we got to go back through the school to get out.
Wow.
So I don't think we've ever ran so fast in our lives to get out of that school.
That's
But yeah,
insane.
we were safe. We made it back to the car.
Wow. Did you ever
Yeah,
like find out like what happened? Did they like light the building on fire or anything, or like do you know anything else?
we did not stick
Okay, got
around to
you.
find
Got
out.
you for sure. For sure. I wouldn't either.
But no, yeah, they didn't burn the building down. I don't know why they had a gas can.
So weird. Wow. People are crazy. Like that just
Yeah,
goes to show you that you never know who you're going to run into in one of these buildings.
yeah, we've come across some very like crazy people in Gary. Like this one guy, this homeless guy named Maurice. He was this homeless guy in Lew Wallace, which is a very well known school, which is going to get demolished like next month. But um, yeah, so we were just in there just like one time, and we heard this guy like walking around in the dark by himself, and that's kind of creepy. Like why would someone walk around by themselves in the dark? So we turned the corner. I shine my flashlight. This guy has like a machete, and we're like, okay, this is not good. So we just started running through the building, and then we turned a corner, and he just stopped, like just dead stopped halfway through the hallway. And yeah, and I remember my friend and I looking at each other. We're like, this is like something out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
They just like stop chasing you. So then, like, we come back for sunrise a few weeks later, and this homeless guy comes out. He's like, "Hey, I'm Maurice," and he's like all drugged up. He talks about how there's portals connecting all the schools. It was just weird, and he talks about how he doesn't go to like half of the school, which then my friend and I were like, "Wait, that makes sense. Why this guy just
Mm.
dead stopped?" Yeah,
Wow. That's crazy, dude. Like what an experience that must have been for you guys.
I know.
And then do you have a favorite exploration overall?
Favorite. Let me see. I've done a lot that I really liked. There was this abandoned prison that I went to. Um, it was really cool. I just like really liked like the structure of it. It was when I was watching The Walking Dead and like the prison
Mm-hmm.
episode. Like the season. So I felt like it was kind of like that. Like I was getting like Walking Dead vibes. It was just really cool. Um, I really like prisons because it's just like the normal person doesn't get to go into a
Yeah.
prison, and unless they really screw up. So I thought it was really cool because I could see how the prison was run. I could see like how the cells worked. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then we also sat on the roof for sunset,
Wow. That's awesome, man.
so that was pretty good. I'm trying to think. We've done some like pretty crazy stuff. Um, my friend and I went to this abandoned factory in Chicago early morning. We got cereal and we ate cereal as the sun rose,
Nice.
and we watched the skyline. That was pretty fun.
That's rad. Oh man, I love hearing about this
Yeah.
stuff, dude. It's so interesting, like the different stories that come out of this from, I've done like 47 episodes at this point and everybody's got a
Mhm.
completely different story and experience, and even if they've gone to the same places, they've all got different experiences, and I think that's what makes this so special.
Yeah. Yeah. Like everyone's different.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's amazing to hear all the stories.
Absolutely. And I know you said that you went to that one location by yourself, but do you have a preference on exploring alone versus exploring with people?
I like to explore with people. Safety in numbers. I say because I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot while exploring. So, like for like instance with the dogs, if I was by myself, that could have played out differently. But yeah, I do like to explore with my friend. Um, yeah, we like run a business together now. I met her in an abandoned building.
Nice.
Um, yeah, yeah. Now we're like really good friends, and we explore as much as we can together.
That's awesome, man. I love that you guys met in an abandoned
Yeah,
place. Like, what a cool way to foster a friendship.
I know. Yeah.
So cool. And do you have any bucket list items, places that you want to go that you haven't been to yet?
Yes, I do. Chernobyl is one of them for sure. I've always wanted to go out there. Um, and then I also want to go to like abandoned castles, in Europe. That would be so fun, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love to do more stuff in Europe. Like there's so much out there, and the history is crazy, and it's just so old, you know, because it's been around for so long.
Yeah, they have like longer history than we do
Exactly.
here. So I feel like the places are better there.
Yeah. Oh,
Or
100%.
not better, but like different.
Yeah,
know?
and the architecture is different, and you know all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So if you could live in one place you've explored for a week, which place would it be?
Oh, I gotta really think about that one because we go into some pretty disgusting places sometimes. Um, we always talk about doing like overnight challenges in places that we think are like safe. I'm trying to think of which one. The prison I talked about earlier, that would work. I feel like. Yeah, I'll go with the prison.
Okay.
I feel like I could stay there for a little bit.
Nice. And what's the farthest you've traveled to explore so far?
Let me think. It's definitely been a couple hours. I think we went up to mid Wisconsin once just to find out a place was being demolished when we got there, which was pretty unfortunate. Um, we've done well. I moved out to Arizona a while ago, for school, and then I decided I didn't like it out there. But um, we traveled in Arizona pretty far to find these abandoned airplanes. So I would say that's probably the furthest. Yeah, that's definitely the furthest we've gone.
And you found the airplanes?
Find abandoned places. Yeah, we did find them. There's a whole bunch of them.
Can you tell me more about that exploration? Because airplanes are so fascinating to me.
Oh my god, they are. Yeah. So Arizona's known for like boneyards and stuff, just in the middle of like absolutely nowhere. You know, like you have to like off road to get to some of these places sometimes. So, I moved to Arizona. I was looking for people to explore with because, my main exploring friends were back home. So I found these people and we just drove. I think we drove about like 4 hours just to find these it was like three planes that we thought. There was just, like from what we saw, there were just three. But when we got there was like 7 or 8 of them. But we drove on this road, the highway, got off the highway, went on this dirt road. Dirt road went away. But I was like, it's just, if you just keep going, it's a straight shot there. So we're like off-roading and we found it.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love doing the like off the beaten path kind of stuff. Like that's some of the best explorations that you can go on for sure.
Yeah, because if they're just like right off the road, everyone's gonna see them. Everyone's gonna go to them. I like to go to like places and make it like unique. I like to make my shots unique. That like not everyone has, just to get like a different perspective.
Absolutely. And then my last question for you is, what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started exploring?
Oh, there's so many things. Back when I started exploring, I like to talk to everyone. So if I was in an abandoned place and I heard, footsteps, I'd wander and see who it is. From experience, I know not to do that anymore. Yeah, like if you're in an abandoned place, you hear something, just get out or go your own way because you never know who's there.
Yeah, absolutely. So true, man. And like, it's like I said earlier, like you never know who you're going to run into. It could be a nice person. It could be somebody with a gun, so.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk. And, you can always go back,
right.
Like the next week.
Right.
It's not worth
exactly.
it. Yeah.
So if people want to keep following your journey, where can they find you online? Drop your social media.
They can find me on Instagram at CrayzyPhotography, CRAYZY.photography. It's spelled crazy like C-Ray. It's my initials and it's crazy. So I thought that would work pretty good.
Love that.
But yeah, and then I run a YouTube channel, Unseen Adventures. It's where we post all our crazy adventures on YouTube.
All right, guys, that was my episode with Chris Ray, otherwise known as Crayzy Photography. Thank you for coming on the No Tracers podcast and sharing your stories. This one was a little shorter. We had a time crunch here, and my internet was being all buggy at the beginning of our session, but we got it done in time for him to get on with his day. And if you enjoyed this episode or any of the episodes of the No Tracers podcast, can you please do me a favor and leave a rating and feedback under the No Tracers show on Apple Podcasts? It helps us grow. It helps us find a new audience and more listeners just like you. Thank you for listening this week. If you guys want to pick up a copy of my book or read my blog or see my photos, you can go to notracers.com. And I will talk to you guys next week for another episode. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out, go explore something, and remember, leave no trace.